You didn't start the class yet. I have a question.
But I have a question that doesn't have to do with the class.
So let's not ask the question.
But it has to do with last week's class.
Let's start. We know you'll ask the question. Let us start. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Boker Tov, Boker Ol. Okay, we're holding on page 18 in this pamphlet, and in the book on page 93.
So we're on page 18 over here.
18. Okay. Usually I talk too much, so I think we should just read the book maybe a little bit.
It's in the good book. State Geschriven.
So he started off that the reason he wanted to go into the reasons, he's going into the reasons of why the righteous, suffer, and why do the wicked prosper. That's the $1 million question, and he answers it in one answer that Eibishter runs the world. God is the one who runs the world, and we don't understand the ways of God. And some questions are always some questions are not made to be answered, or some questions maybe you shouldn't have the question to begin with. You should have trust in God that He knows what He's doing, and accept it. So that's but nevertheless, he tries to go into some reasons of why he's going to go into reasons why the righteous suffer seemingly, and why the wicked prosper. So that's what we're holding, right? Nevertheless, he says, I've seen to explain this matter why some righteous people suffer while some wicked people prosper in such a manner that the explanation should be somewhat sufficient. Okay, I will say that the reasons why righteous person's livelihood is withheld from him until he exerts himself to obtain it and is tested in it is as follows. We know that if you go to the patriarchs, the matriarchs, we know that none of them had children easily. They always, all of them, Abraham and Sarah, had no children till they were 100. Abraham was 100 years old, and Sarah was 90 years old. Rebecca and Isaac had no children if they were married for 20 years, and Rachel and Yaakov. So we know that this was always a problem, seemingly. And the answer that's given, the Rashi, if you look at the Rashi and the reason that why did God make the patriarchs and matriarchs seemingly go through suffering in this aspect, because God loves the prayer of the righteous. That's what Rashi says. God loves the prayer of the righteous. He loves when they pray. He enjoys their prayer. So if they know how to pray, the righteous know how to pray. So the Eibishter wants that the righteous should pray. And that's a general answer. When somebody sees something negative in the world, why does God show you the negative? God wants you to pray. He wants you, maybe your prayers are very powerful in heaven, and God wants you, he feels that your prayers will be joyful. You know, prayers are compared to a sacrifice, a sacrificial offering. It's the only mitzvah, sacrificial offering is the only mitzvah that it says, Reach nechayach laHashem, that it's a pleasing smell to God. Right? It doesn't say when you put on tefillin, it's a reich nechayach. God doesn't say when you keep Shabbos, it's a reich nechayach. Maybe it says when you daven, when you pray, it's a reich nechayach. I enjoy a human being's davening. I enjoy when a person prays. If you learn Chassidus, you'll understand that the power of prayer, and that's why we struggle with prayer. The hardest mitzvah for us to do is prayer. By Jews, the hardest mitzvah to do. You go to any shul, you'll realize that. It's the hardest mitzvah to do, to pray and to concentrate in your prayer. That the Gemara says, Ian Tefillah is one of the mitzvahs that every person is negates every day. That he doesn't pray with the right concentration, and he doesn't pray in the right manner, and this is a struggle. why not struggle with other mitzvahs? Why only do we struggle with prayer? Because it shows you the importance of prayer, the power of prayer. That prayer is important. And when something's important, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, will always try to negate it, always try to push it away. That a Yid shouldn't pray, a Jew should not pray. Okay, but let's see over here what he says. So he writes, the reason could be that this tzaddik, even though he's a tzaddik right now, but it could be that he had a sin. He's got a sin in his background. He has some, what do they call it today? He has some skeletons in his closet. Right? Nobody over here has any skeletons in their closet, but this tzaddik might have had some kind of skeletons in his closet. So, in essence, a person should, this is a general thing. A person should never be sad, and this is not easy. A person should never be sad on his own tzaddis. He should really only be sad on somebody else's tzaddis. That's really what a person should do. On his own tzaddis, he's got to maybe connect the dots. Maybe realize that he's not so righteous. Why do the righteous suffer? I'm not so righteous. Maybe I deserve to have a little bit of pain in my life. It's not the holiest person walking around the building. And even though I might feel like the holiest person right now, but could be and pain, as we learned, I once spoke about it, pain, the Gemara says anybody who goes through pain in this world, God forgives him and all his avedas. You should realize that. No pain, no gain. The pain in this world is the Gemara of Yechon and Shlakish. I mentioned the famous Gemara, the Rebbe would say this Gemara, that pain in this world, if a person goes through pain, he should realize that it is a cleansing situation in his life. And David does not give pain just to hurt people. He's not in the business of hurting anybody. It's the David gives pain because there needs to maybe something needs to be cleansed in our lives. I mean, nobody should have pain, but if a person has pain, he should maybe connect that dot. As it says in Proverbs, behold, the righteous man will pay for his sins on earth. That's it. So that's why righteous people might suffer because of their own negatives in their life. So if the righteous man, and that's why am I learning this, because I'm not a righteous man, so I can surely connect the dots. So I know things that I've done negative in the past. And says, for example, if somebody embarrasses you, that's the great, are you cold? Say if you're cold, don't be shy. I don't want you to be in pain over here. It's supposed to be a joyful experience. So, I forgot what I was going to say. So, I said about righteous man will pay for pain on this for his sins that he's done on this earth. Yeah, I was going to say something else. Okay, what? No, in the pamphlet. It's 18. No. I didn't say the page.
You said it, but I don't know how you can't follow because sometimes you're just talking and sometimes you're.
Yeah, 18. I'm 18. I'm holding the third paragraph.
Third paragraph?
Fourth paragraph on 18. So that's number one. Yeah. So God, in essence, wants the cleansing of a person. You had something negative. David is not into David is not into punishing people. God wants to have good only for people. He wants that people should only have good, but since they have some negative within them, they have to clean it out. Oh, embarrassment. Oh, that's what I'm saying. That the best cleansing in this world is embarrassment. If somebody embarrasses you, because Chassidus explains what's the greatest punishment in Gan Eden. What means Gehenim shall eish. We always talk about a fire. We have this imagination of a big pit, Lamaila, and they're throwing you into this pit. I don't know where you got this, where you saw this movie, right? They throw you into the guy with a big fork over there, and he's cooking everything, right? I don't know, just imaginations of Gehenna. But what is Siddur says? What is a fight? What is Gehenna shel Eish? Is shame. That's the biggest punishment Lamaila, because it's truth. When you come Lamaila, when you come above, it's called the Olam HaEmes. This is called the Olam HaSheker. So it's a false world. So everybody hides behind the falsity of the world, right? Everything is fake, so I'm fake too. What are my difference? Everything is plastic, so I'm plastic too. Everything is throwaway, so I'm throwaway too. When you come to Olam HaEmes, when you come to the world of truth, it's an embarrassing situation. Can you imagine an embarrassing situation in the world of truth, where over there you can't hide behind any false kind of situation. You can't hide behind any kind of story. You can't tell any stories anymore. You can't tell any Baba Mises anymore, right? So it's really embarrassing. What happens when he gets embarrassed? He gets red. He turns red. He gets hot. If you get caught, you get embarrassed. You get caught. You get somebody embarrasses you. That's Gehenna Shalesh. That's the biggest Gehenna. That's the biggest hell a person can have, is that when it comes above, and then it's all truth. You can't hide behind anything. Nobody's interested in your stories. Nobody cares about all your excuses. Nobody really cares anything. And anything they care about is about the truth. They care about the truth. Extremely, extremely sad situation. So if we go through some embarrassment in this world, somebody embarrasses you, you should say, thank you. Right? That's what the Mishnah says. That what the Mishnah says, that tzaddikim, righteous people, hear their embarrassment and they do not respond.
So we were talking that when somebody embarrasses you, you have the power to do something.
Right. Yeah, all these things. So somebody embarrasses you, that means they cleanse you from Gehenna. They cleanse you from a negativity they have in you. So you have the bracha is capable of revealing. So in general, why brachas don't happen? Why don't we have Gilui Lakus in our world? Why don't we have in the Maimah? Why don't we have revelation of God in our existence? Because we have evil, we're sheker, we have falsity, we're living in a false world, we're acting falsely, we're thinking falsely. It's all one sheker, it's all one illusion. So this whole life is an illusion. When you come to the heaven, you say Ayina. You say it in the blenching. Ayina kachamim. When Mashiach comes and the truth is going to be revealed, Ayina will see this is one big nightmare. We've been living through a dream. It was a dream. It's a dream. So that's the Rebbe says the beauty of a dream. You have to look at the beauty of Gullus is a dream, because in a dream you can do a lot of opposites. That's the beauty of a dream. When you're out of a dream, you can't do too much. But when you're in a dream, wow, anything can happen. You can be walking in the snow and you're walking without any coat. It can be a machaya. Dreams are great. Dreams are great. Opposites can happen in a dream. In Gullus, opposites can happen, right? You can be not such a perfect person and act like a perfect person. You can fake it till you make it. But which the Alter Rebbe demands on a Jew to fake it. If he has no capability of being the holy person he needs to be, let him start faking it now. Let him start acting it now. Let him start acting the part. Maybe acting will bring him to ultimately doing. But when there's truth, you can't act anymore. The show is over. So the game is over. So the show is over. The truth is what is revealed. And that's what happened with Joseph and his brothers. When he said, Ani Yosef, so that I think it was the Baditchev, whenever he said Ani Yosef, he would cry. Because he said, wow, the brothers, when he said, I am Yosef, they cried. They got embarrassed. They became, they lost themselves, right? Here they were the big knackers. Yehuda got up. He's ready to go out to war. He's a big guy. He's a big guy, and Yosef says two words, and they all fall apart. Right? They suddenly over what happened to your big warriorship? Suddenly they're all nobodies. They're all embarrassed. They're going backwards. They're ashamed. Like two words, Ani Yosef. I am Yosef, and everything falls apart. Why? Because the truth. When you have the truth, look in your face, everything falls apart. That's it. What are you gonna do? Ani Yosef. I'm Yosef. You're acting like these big people, like big people. But you're all little people. You're all nothing. You're all nothing. In the face of you're all nothing. The Abishah runs the world. You're all nothing. So it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So you used to cry. So what's going to happen when the Abishah is going to reveal himself? And we're not ready. Well, hopefully for Mashiach. Right? Well, hopefully for Mashiach. So Mashiach comes. And we're not ready. We're not ready. Might be embarrassing. Right?
I'm ready.
Okay, good. Okay, Baruch Hashem. So, right, what happens if Mashiach comes? You have to run. If you give me 10 minutes, I got to clean my house. I gotta get rid of the stuff. I gotta get rid of certain stuff in my house, right? But she doesn't want to come to the house. And I said, you gotta get rid of stuff. Let me get rid of some stuff. I gotta give you a couple of minutes, right? Well, that's the boy. Are you ready? Are you ready that Mashiach should walk in? Now you have, who knows what I have in my house that doesn't belong, shouldn't belong to me. This you have in your house. What, are you kidding me? Let's get the things back in the closet. So, okay, get ready. So therefore, Mashiach's coming, and we need to get ready. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to be embarrassed when Mashiach comes that we have things that we shouldn't have in our existence. We have certain things that we shouldn't have. So embarrassment is a big thing. Yeah.
Isn't it a terrible sin to publicly shame somebody?
100%. I'm not talking on the person that shames. I'm talking on the person that gets ashamed. So we're not talking to the thing. Nobody should shame anybody, but the person that gets ashamed, that's what his response needs to be. So the Frierdiker Rebbe says when somebody gets ashamed, there are two responses needs to have. You shouldn't get angry, because anger is a false response. The response is either if it's true, so fix it. If it's not true, have Rachmanis on the guy that said it. Right? So that's the two responses a person should have. If it's true, fix it. If it's false, have Rachmanis on the guy that said it. So that you get angry is because you don't want to fix it. And you just want to have anger on somebody that said it. So that's not a good response. That's not the right response. Because if it was not true, why would you get angry? You were just sad that somebody says something that is negative. So we're not talking about the person that says it. We're talking about the person that it's said about. Nobody should embarrass anybody, and it's a terrible sin, as we know. Somebody embarrass somebody, whatever. The harsh expressions of a person embarrassing. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's not an easy thing. Whatever. Most people, I don't believe, have intentional to embarrass somebody. If we have to ask forgiveness, you have to ask mechila if you embarrass somebody, not because you intentionally wanted to embarrass him. It happens. We're human beings. We have enough Shabbat. We say things we shouldn't say. That's it. That's the best thing is don't say anything. But that's very hard. It's very hard.
That's why on Yom Kippur,
I said yesterday, that the Gemara says that the face of the generation before Mashiach comes is the face of a dog. So he said yesterday, it's the biggest Mesilas Nefesh, and the dog doesn't bark. We can't stop barking. We have to overcome ourselves to stop barking. Stop saying things we shouldn't say. Stop control our mouths. So the Gemara says, no, we're like a face of a dog. We act like dogs. We can't stop talking. We can't stop saying things. We have out of control of keeping our mouths closed. Maybe some people don't have that issue. Okay, weiter. Number 2, there are some righteous people who suffer for exchange of increased reward in the world to come. So you might do a righteous person doesn't want to have any pleasure from this world. If you're really a righteous person, you learn Tanya. A righteous person doesn't have pleasure from the world. I use the word tainug. Pleasure means just delight of the world. A righteous person has total delight in godliness, and meaning that he has delight in the world the way it's godly. So a righteous person sees everything in the world in its godly state of pleasure. So he has tainig of this world, but for its godly purpose, not for its physical purpose. Now, what happens if a person you have Yosef Atzadik. Yosef Atzadik suffered. Why? Because he enjoyed to play with his hair. Rashi keeps on saying that. Salsa Vasade. Imagine if the Abish got angry at everybody playing with their hair, it would be a big sudden, right? Yeah, right. Who doesn't? Which person, man, women? Well, everybody's worried with a hair day. Everybody's worried, right? You learned the Rashi, you learned the Yosef. Everybody, he was punished twice because he played with his hair. Salsa Vasade. Which guy is not combing himself and grooming himself, and which woman is not grooming themselves? What do you mean? Some of Yosef is a tzaddik, and Salsa B'Shadeh, him was not happy that he was. I don't think God's worried so much about our Salsa B'Shadeh. That should be our big problem, that we comb ourselves. We groom ourselves to look handsome or beautiful, right? But really, if you want to go to the core of things, what are you grooming yourself? What is, a man is not allowed to, a man is not allowed to darken his one hair, right? So 2 hairs, he did a Veda. If he had white hair, he blackens his hair. A man is not allowed to do that in halacha. I don't want to blame you. I don't want to tell you, because in halacha, in halacha, a man shouldn't look in the mirror. Right? A man should look in the mirror. When he's looking in the mirror, the only time he's allowed to look in the mirror in halacha is when somebody's cutting your hair. Right? Somebody's cutting your hair, so you have to protect yourself. The guy might hurt you, so you're allowed to look in the mirror. Oh, when you look at the tefillah, right? Okay, right. But when you're looking in the mirror. But who doesn't have a mirror in his bathroom? Who doesn't look in the mirror? We all look in the mirror. We're all looking in the mirror.
And what about
So,
front view or rear view?
whatever, no view. There should be no view. What is it about looking at a woman's allowed to look in the window? A woman's allowed to beautify herself. But a man shouldn't be so involved in this Elam Haza. So involved. I remember that I was bringing it to the guys worried that the tie matches their socks. It was very important. And the tie and the socks matches their wall-to-wall carpet. Everybody was into wall-to-wall carpet. Now everybody's getting rid of the carpet. But in those days, in the 80s, 70s, everybody was into wall-to-wall. It was like the status of 70s. It was the status of luxury, wall-to-wall carpets. So that was, so wall-to-wall carpet. Everybody has to have wall-to-wall carpet, and the carpet has to match the tie, and the tie has to match the socks, and it has to be all. Everything has to be groomed correctly. It's beautiful, right? No complaints. But a tzaddik doesn't need to have that. On the other hand, a tzaddik, the Shemona says, if a tzaddik walks out with a dot, a Talmid Chacham walks out dirt on his garment, he's chayiv misa. So the cleanliness is not. We're not talking about cleanliness, but to groom oneself to look that he needs to look like something special. I don't know what he thinks he needs to look like. So that's a person who's. So we're not tzaddikim. Okay, we're not tzaddikim. Okay, unless you are a tzaddik, we're not tzaddikim. Thank God, we're not tzaddikim. So a tzaddik has no interest in itself in a certain. Therefore, it could be that you shouldn't want to be you shouldn't want to be in halacha, in Torah, you shouldn't want to be a tzaddik, or you shouldn't want to be even a leader, because most people think that being a leader in Torah is you have a leeway out, but actually it's the opposite. The Eibush says, I'm very, 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 I'm very, how you got the word? I'm very makbid. Extremely careful with those that think that they're leaders, or those that think that are bonim, they have this authority, You have to be careful with, keep careful. But, right, so the Abishah, what was Moshe Rabbeinu's sin already? Right, the Abishah is very careful, right, with Moshe Rabbeinu. When you and you see throughout history, that the Abishah is very careful with what they said, and it was very makbid on them. So what most people would think, what's the big deal? What was the big deal that he did? What was the big deal Moshe Rabbeinu did? The mother says, whoever says Moshe Rabbeinu did a sin doesn't know what sin is. So Moshe Rabbeinu never sinned, but to him, to his level, Moshe Rabbeinu, he should have been careful, right? So being Moshe Rabbeinu, because he got frustrated, right? Got frustrated. Why? Because he had millions of people that made him a sugar, right? I'm creative. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I had a day of rest since I haven't had a day of rest. I haven't had a day of menucha. I had nothing, never could do anything right. Never got anything for this whole situation. Just had pain and suffering. That Moshe Rabbeinu says, you read, he says, take me out of this situation, right? I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get out of this business. This is a lousy job. This is a lousy paying job, right? Right. So that's what the Abba says. Rav Toiv Tzafulach is a great thing that's waiting for you. So therefore, don't worry. You have a great pension. So, but so Bumpus says the pay of the rabbi is lousy, but the reward is out of this world. So I don't know. That's what it says. I don't know. So that's why a tzaddik, a real tzaddik, Tzaka says, I don't need anything in this world. I don't need anything in this world. What are you giving me in this world? I don't need it. Yes, and there are some righteous people who suffer. Number three, an unrighteous suffer to show other people the level of tolerance of his suffering and his good demeanor in the service of the tzaddik is here for the example. So that's why we should all be a tzaddik in this aspect, not to put our suffering on other people. Right? That's the concept of a victim becoming a victimizer. Right? So because I'm in pain, misery likes company. That's what they say usually. So that's a sad situation. A person that makes other people suffer, just because he's suffering, shows that that's a negative trait. A person should show that I'm going through suffering, but I'm not going to make anybody else suffer. I'm going to show you I'm going to be an example how to. It's true. This kind of very true when it comes to, like they say, when you're a parent, never to, if there's money issues, never to make your children feel that there's money issues, right? Like if this thought is never to bring it down that your children, why not only that your children shouldn't feel that there's pain and suffering, but to educate your children, because the children do know that they're not stupid, but to show them an example what it means to go through a challenge in life, what it means to overcome a challenge in life. Not that everything in life goes easy, but we can all sit in misery, or to make other people miserable. I once asked my father, because I know my father went through a lot of pain and suffering in his life, and I had classmates. I knew that their parents made them miserable. They made them miserable. They also went to the Holocaust. All children from Holocaust survivors, and some of my friends went through a lot of the parents who were miserable, were very unhappy people, and they had a reason to be unhappy. They went through a lot of sad and pain. They all came from families that they lost all their families. They saw their families being murdered. They came here to America alone. They were very unhappy people, and you couldn't blame them. They hit the Yamach did to them, and they would do that. And I once asked my father, like, why didn't you ever do that? Why, you went through so much sad in your life. You saw so much pain. You saw so much sadness. He said, you're right. He said, I chose to not do that. I chose not to show any pain. That was our choice, right? Your mother and I decided we're not gonna, and even though they went through pain in their life, they lost a child also. But when I was a child, so they never showed pain. That must have been a courageous thing. I don't know. But some psychiatrists would say it's not a good education, right? That you should show, but you know what? Sometimes if you have such kind of pain, maybe there will be consuming pain. And how would you get out of it? So that was their choice, not to show any pain, but to show courage and to show that you believe in the Eibishter, and there's no we have betachin, and we need to show an example. What means betachin? What means betachin in God? You know, the Frierdiker Rebbe, when he was 15 years old, the Rebbe Rashab called him in and said, "I want you to be my secretary. I want you to be my right-hand guy." And as a 50-year-old, what he did as a 15-year-old, you lead to the stories, is Mesiras Nefesh as a 15-year-old. When he went to go to St. Petersburg, and he would stand up for Jews as a 50-year-old. So yeah, that's how you meet these stories as a 15-year-old. I'm talking about ultimately the Frierdiker Rebbe was a Rebbe in a time of great sorrow for Yidden. Great sorrow. In the world, about the Yidden in Russia, and his own suffering. But the Frierdiker Rebbe never lamented on his suffering. He went to Yud Shvat. Never kvetched on his pain and suffering. It was always the same. It was always the same statement. You know, we'd go, Yiddishkeit has to live. I'm here for Yiddishkeit. Whatever I'm going through is my personal situation. Right?
Wonderful.
Why we're not tzaddikim?
No, but
but we need to learn to do that. We need to learn to do that. Right? We need to learn to realize that we need to show an example what it means to handle our suffering, not to become a victimizer. Just because we're unhappy, we have to make somebody else unhappy. Just because we're unhappy, we have to make everybody unhappy. Why? You're unhappy. You're right to be unhappy, but choose to keep it to yourself. Choose to go to a psychiatrist. Go, as an Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, lock yourself in a room, bang your head against the wall. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Yeah, get it out of the system. Learn to take your anger and your frustration, which might be right. Whatever the Eibishter gave you a tzad, he gave you a pain, he gave you a suffering. Take the situation, use it. You learn how to deal with it in yourself, and don't make other people pay for it. Be actually an example to other people what it means to act in a positive way, even though you're in a negative situation.
Can you go to your rabbi?
What?
Can you go to your rabbi?
Yeah, beat me up. That's what I get paid for. You should come and abuse me.
See, I knew that.
My pleasure. Then when they once asked a psychiatrist, one psychiatrist just became a psychiatrist, and after a day, after hearing all this suddes, he calls up his mentor. He says, "How do you survive the day of listening to all this suddes?" So the mentor said, "Who listens?" Who listens? But I'm not joking. That's a joke. Yeah.
Robert, pain and suffering is like, can we take it as a purification? Like
Yeah, also, yeah, he said before. That was his number one. That was his number one. His number one was to purify myself. But people are hard to look in the mirror and say that, why do I need purification? I'm a wonderful guy. Why am I suffering? What? God doesn't like me. Yeah.
Like reading on Yom Kippur, all that list of stuff and saying, I didn't do any of this.
You'll soon see. He gives the answer to that question. Why? Because you have some righteous taka, don't have any latest. So why would you say achad? No, the Hillel says, okay. So that was number 3, so that other people can learn from him and know, like the story of Job. Why did we learn the story of Job? Because nobody should. Some people, some Farshim say there was never such a Job as Moshe Rabbeinu. So there was such an entity as Job. It was a real situation. Was there a real situation? It's a machlekes in the Gemara. It's not like but it doesn't matter. The point is, it's written in the story, so that we should we learn from the story. As I heard, maybe we can take one thing from Job and accept on ourselves this thing, this situation. He lost all his daughters, whatever. But the truth is, we don't have to go to Job. We know people. I know certain great people that lost everything and lost all their children in the Holocaust. You have the Bav Rebbe, you have the Kleisenberg Rebbe lost 11 children in the Holocaust. His wife and 11 children. And these were tzaddikim who came to America, got married again, they lost their whole community, went on, were positive entities, spoke about Yiddishkeit, about continuing, and look at them today. Look at them 70 years later. You'll see what means. It's not, you don't have to go to Job. I can give you examples. Look at every Hasidic dynasty. Today, every Hasidic dynasty, even Lubavitch. Look at every Hasidic dynasty. If they would have come and said, okay, we're closing, they could have came and said, we're closing up. That's it. We with the Ger, 500,000 Ger Chassidim were wiped out in the Holocaust. The whole Warsaw. They were all in Warsaw. 300,000 Ger Chassidim all come out, all 90% wiped out. Yeah, this is a type of tragedy. The Holocaust. It's not affected. Affected great dynasties. Some dynasties are totally wiped out. Hasidic dynasties, totally wiped. But those that came back and reestablished themselves and went on and created like the Friedrich Rebbe said, America is nicht anders, and to come to America or every place in the world say it's no different. We're going to continue, and actually kept their names, Lubavitch and Ger and Bavik and Satmar, etc. These kept their names and never gave up their names. It's a beautiful thing. And today are humongous places in Jewish history. They have more Chassidim now than they had before the war. That shows you what the power. I don't have to go to Job. I can give you living examples of the situation. Chitas.
I'm from the Bronx. We talk different.
Yeah, one second. Let me say.
So different. What disturbed me this morning was to hear that 4/5 of the Jewish people died in the darkness. Why? Because then we have less to worry about.
No, chas v'shalom. It's a good question. There's the debate. The simple answer that's given is because 4/5 didn't want to go out of Egypt.
Were they too integrated?
Yeah,
into Egypt?
yeah. That's what the Rebbe would always say. That the prophet says, in time of the Exodus, only 1/5 of the Jewish nation went out of Egypt. 4/5 didn't want to leave Egypt. And the Abraham said, okay, 4/5 you want to leave, you don't want to leave Egypt, stay in Egypt. The other, when Mashiach comes, to look to echad, the prophet says the Abraham has taken out everybody. He's not leaving even those that say, I like Boca. I like Boca. Boca's fine. I have no complaints. They're not going to go to the worst places. Could have been in Siberia. Boca's good. What's the problem with Boca? What's the problem? Let's stay right here. Let us, why can't Mashiach, why can't we be right here? So David says no. Mashiach comes, even the one who likes Boca. And he's enjoying to be Boca. David's going to take everybody out of Galus. He's going to drag you out of here. He's going to drag you out of here. He's not going to let no Jew left behind. That was it ever. The no Jew left behind. I don't care what the Jews level in. I mentioned, I don't care if he's a behemoth still. I'm going to take every Jew out of Gullus. I'm not going to be like Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim was a big problem. 4/5 of the Jewish nation died in the desert. I died in Mitzrayim. We have to realize that not 4/5 of the Jewish nation died. The entire male population ultimately never made it to Eretz Yisrael. You don't realize from 20 and above. From 20 and above. So those 600,000 that we talk about that went out of Galus Mitzrayim did not make it to Eretz Yisrael. The women made it to Eretz Yisrael, not the men. So the men didn't make it. So they didn't make it. They didn't make it.
Why?
Because they didn't want to go. Because this group didn't want to leave Mitzrayim. This group didn't want to leave the Bad Desert. They just did not want to go. And that was an issue by God. That you don't want to go, don't go. But now the prophet says you're going to go kicking. You're going to go dancing or kicking. I'm not going to let any Jew behind, even if they don't want to go. I'm taking them with me. No, I'm not going to do it like I did it in the time. That's why I identify. See greater miracles. Be greater miracles when going out of Mitzrayim. There'll be greater miracles. And that's going to be one of the miracles. That the Abish is going to take out every Jew, whether he wants to go or a Jew who thinks he doesn't want to go. And there might be a lot of Jews who don't want to go. Well, why won't go to Israel? Why go to Israel? I'm happy right where I am. I don't need to go anywhere. I can stay right here. Yeah.
How do you answer those parents whose sons or daughters were killed in Vietnam, and you have to break the news to them?
I never had to do that, so
I did.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do it. Trust me, I have to break. I deal with
you. Looking at Jewish tradition, how do you answer them?
May God console you.
Yeah,
I have no answer.
You're right. That's all you can say.
That's all I can say. That's all you should say. Because you can't answer. They can't answer such kind of questions. Those are $1 million questions. You can't answer. I'm not here to answer every question. And I don't think a parent wants to hear an answer to such a kind of question. It's not a question they want to hear. Okay, weiter. Yes, and there are some. Now here's the answer he gives the answer to this question, and that is that why do you say Al-Chet on Yom Kippur for sins that you didn't do? Right? If you can find there a sin that you didn't do, so why you say Al-Chet? First, you should know that everything that says over there, in any sin that's written over there, you should know in any sin in the Torah, there are many levels to sins. So don't murder is don't embarrass somebody. It's the same sin, okay? It's just the concept of murder in a different kind of a level, okay? So when he says you shouldn't murder, he's not talking only about taking a knife and killing somebody. It's also about embarrassing somebody because you're murdering him. That's why it's the worst thing that you can do. So murder is many levels. Like don't steal. Don't steal doesn't mean robbing somebody. In halacha, doesn't only mean robbing somebody. It means lying to somebody is also an act of stealing. Right? You're stealing from them their mind. It's called genevas das. In halacha, you have a concept of genevas das, stealing the mind of a person, lying to him, cheating him. Goes in geneva, cheating him in his mind, telling him the false information. There's also geneva. So you might be doing the act of stealing in a more refined way, it says that a Rebbe, that when a chassid came to a Rebbe to ask him for a tikkun, for a rectification of sin, so the Rebbe would have to find the sin within himself. Right? How can he tell a person to rectify a sin? It says I think the Mittel Rebbe once sat with a chassid, and then the chassid went out, told the chassid to leave. The chassid told him something that he did, and the Mittel Rebbe, he sat there for hours. They had to change his clothes. He was like sweating profusely, and he was sweating like they had to change. He had to call the secretary in to come bring him new clothes because he was schwitzing. He said, They asked him, what are you schwitzing about? It's not it's not so hot over in this room. So why are you schwitzing? Why are you sweating so profusely? He said, because I heard something that I pushed it. I had to work on myself to find it, but is the darkest. I had to find it within me, something that this Jew told me. I had to find it within me in the most refined. I couldn't find it within me, something that I could associate this concept to my situation, and I found it. Took me a couple hours of hard work to find it within me. You should know the Baal Shem Tov says, if anybody comes and tells you something, they're really telling it to you for yourself. Somebody comes and tells you a good juicy lashon hara, right? A negative thing about somebody else. Really, the person's coming. He was a mess. He was sent by the Eibishter to talk about you.
Talking about you?
Yeah, he's talking about you.
That's why you heard it.
That's why you heard it. So you only think he's talking about the other person, but the truth is, why did the guy come and tell you about the other person? Because really, it's about you.
Always?
It's always about you. It's about you, and therefore, right? Because if it was about somebody else, if it's about somebody else. It's about somebody else. You would if it was about somebody else and it was not about you, you would not be able to hear it. Basically, not be able to hear it. It would not make any sense to you. If it's coming to you, it's because it's something about you, and it might not be overtly about you. You know, you might say, "Well, I would never do this," but you might do this in different levels. You might be doing this, what you're hearing, in different levels. And that's why you should always translate it to the good. You should always find a way to say something, respond to the good. First, you shouldn't hear it to begin with. But if you heard it, you should always try to say something good about the person, right? Right? Justify it, right? Right. So, for instance, terrible. Maybe he had a bad upbringing. Maybe he had a rough life. Maybe whatever. Find some kind of a way to be mizakeh. Don't say, "Oh, you're right. What a terrible person this guy is." You're right. I'll add to the fire. I'll tell you something else. You think that's what he did? I'll tell you what he did more. Then you're right, because in essence, you're just justifying your own evil, right? Right? More. I can tell you more. So a person, in essence, should always be zachal. Always try to be somebody. Always judge everybody to the good, because you're judging yourself. You're not judging the guy, you're judging yourself. And always try to bring positive out of somebody else, because in essence, you're being positive about yourself. So this is the next one, number 4. Some righteous people suffer due to the wickedness of other people of their generation, right? Because we're all one person, we're all one entity. That's what the Rebbe said. That's what the Alter Rebbe said, that the Arizal said Al-Chet because of the generation. He said, I say Al-Chet because of the generation. I'm a tzaddik gomer. I don't do these sins, but I'm part of the generation. I'm part of the people. I'm sitting between people. I'm sitting between the generation. I'm in the same boat. So what's the difference if that guy made a hole under his seat? I'm in the same boat. I'm a great tzaddik. I'm in first class. But meanwhile, third class, the guy's making a hole in the boat. So we're all going down, right? The boat's going down. Whether you're in first class or you're in third class, we're all going down. So therefore, a person suffers to realize that he's not suffering for his own sins. He might be suffering for somebody else's sins.
Everyone's going down together.
No, because we're one body.
Okay.
We're one entity. Therefore, you should, when you see somebody doing something negative, you should Torah says you should try to stop them from doing bad. Because just to say it's not my business, it's your life, not my life. That's not a Jewish concept. It's your life, not my life. Your life is my life. Your life is my life. Your negative is my negative. Your positive is my positive. But your negative is my negative. I'm in pain when you're in pain. I'm sinning when you're sinning. We're both sinning.
I've tried to help people before like that though. And they get super mad at me
Yeah.
because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, because they don't want because that's
Yeah.
the generation we're living in.
Yeah.
It's my life,
I'm
none of your
always-
business. What I do in my life is not your business.
I'm always trying to rescue somebody or help someone, and then they get super mad.
Yeah. Okay. Listen.
What's that?
Uh,
Unfortunately.
You can rescue me.
It's fine, Rabbi.
Okay. The Creator tests him with poverty, want, and illness to demonstrate to others his piety in the service of God. So he says, a tzaddik say, I'm willing to accept the pain of the generation. It's brought down in the Zohar. But tzaddik says, I'm willing to accept the pain of the generation. This is a contrast to the other people who do not serve God despite their peaceful lives. As the verse says, indeed, he bore our illness and carried our pains. And that's a tzaddik. A tzaddik, and he accepts the pain of generation, doesn't complain about it. A tzaddik understands that he's willing to accept the pain of the generation, of the generation. He's willing to accept the pain of Yidden. He's willing to do that. That's a tzaddik. A tzaddik is willing to accept the pain, and not complain about it. The goyim can take this a little bit, whatever. But the Jewish thing, that a person, you learn Chassidus, you learn that misa mechaperet, misa tzaddikim. The Gemara says misa tzaddikim is mechaperes. The death of a tzaddik brings kapara on the generation. You learn that from Miriam. You learn that from Moshe Rabbeinu. You learn that from Eliyahu Navi. These great tzaddikim gave up their life for other Yidden, for Yidden, gave up their physical life for Yidden. So the Rebbe spoke. I said on Shabbos, you should watch that video where the Rebbe speaks about the Israeli army that gave up their life for another Yid. We can all talk about what they are, who they are, and what level of religiosity they're in, but most Jews are not ready to give up their life for another Jew. And these guys gave up their life for another Yid. And that's the highest level, to give your life up for another Yid. There's no greater holiness than a Jew being ready, first of all, to give up their life for another Yid. And some of them even giving up their life for another Yid. They're Kadeshim, they're holy individuals. But you got to that bit in hot water, so to say, by a lot of Jews, condoning, you give up your life, you don't have to do any mitzvahs. I didn't say that. But ultimately, a Yid that gives up his life for another Yid is the highest level of Yiddishkeit that can be. And it goes to Gan Eden straight, without stopping at any place. When you give up your life, Kiddush Hashem, when you gave up your life for another Yid.
Weird question. What does it have to do with the Israeli army? Anything?
No, I was talking about the Israeli army then. They could talk about any army. But the Rebbe was talking then about the IDF, the Israeli army. That's what Rebbe was talking. He was talking about the Israeli army.
Yeah.
So the Rebbe wanted that the Chabad should help out the children of the Israeli army, the orphans and the widows of the Israeli army. And he spoke because you have to help these families, because these soldiers gave their life to saving another Jew. So that's it. So they're the highest people in Jewish tradition. They are the highest levels of holy individuals. They acquired the whole world in one moment. They acquired the whole existence in one moment because they gave their life up for Torah, for Yid. Give up your life up for Yid. What can when you want to say what did the Moshe Rabbeinu do? When the Torah wants to say the greatness of Moshe at the end of the whole Chumash in the book of Devarim, when the Torah wants to tell us, and we're just going to finish. When the Torah wants to tell us the greatness of Moshe, what was the greatness? took the Jews out of Mitzrayim, 10 plagues, source in the sea. But when the Torah wants to tell us what was the greatness, the last pasuk of the Torah. Everyone said this many times. And what the Torah ends off, the last pasuk of the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu did. And what is the last thing that we want to remember Moshe Rabbeinu? That he broke the luchos. He took the 2 tablets and he broke it. Le'inei kol Yisrael. Right? The Eibishter gave him these 2 tablets written by God, carved out by God. And Moshe Rabbeinu realized he's coming down the mountain. We're going to read it in a couple of weeks. He's coming down the mountain. The Yidden have sinned. What does he do? He throws it down and breaks his tablets. What a chutzpah. But he broke the tablets because he realized that he has to break them. To save the Yidden, he has to break the tablets. He has no choice. If he cared about Jews, he had to do it. Because he realized that the Abish would say, how can this is like a contrast. Yeah, I give them these 2 tablets, and which is symbolic of godliness in the world, and they do something that's totally opposite. How can these 2 entities can't live in the world together? So he broke it. And the Abish says, thank you. God says thank you. God thanks Moshe Rabbeinu. He says thank you. You did the right thing. Thank you. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was not. What was Moshe Rabbeinu thinking at that moment when he took these tablets, coming down? He's been in the mountain 40 days. Come down with these tablets. What do you think he's thinking about? He's thinking about a Yid.
And then he's angry.
He's thinking about a Yid. He's thinking about saving a sinner Jew that sinned. He's thinking about a Yid, and he throws down the tablets and he smashes the tablets. And that's the last thing that the Torah wants you to remember about who Moshe Rabbeinu was. How he's ready to do something to save a Yid, to save a Jew, save a human being. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of a tzaddik. That's how we'll be able to do that and say, you know what? I'm willing to give up something for the sake of somebody else. I'm willing to give up. I never said about shluchim, willing to go to anywhere for the sake of somebody. That's unbelievable. Some shluchim are like Timbuktu. Yeah, am I willing to give up? To give up something, right? I'm saying, willing to give up something for the sake of somebody else. It's unbelievable. So let's end this off. Number 5, the last one of a tzaddik. There are some righteous people who suffer because although righteous in their private lives, they are not zealous for the sake of God in protesting the sins of people of their generation. As is known for Eli, the high priest and his sons, to whom the verse says, and it will be that everyone who's left in your house will come to prostrate himself before him for a silver piece and a morsel of bread. So Eli was punished. Why? Because he was a great tzaddik, what we call in Yiddish, a tzaddik in pelts. He was a great tzaddik, and he was a righteous, he was beautiful, but he didn't care about anybody else. That's it. He was a good tzaddik for himself. And he didn't care about anybody else. There's some people selfish, they're tzaddikim, but they're selfish tzaddikim. They're selfish individuals who don't really, right? Because everybody wants, trust me, no tzaddik wants to get involved with people. No tzaddik wants to get involved with people. It's true. The Rebbe, it took him a year to get convinced to become the Rebbe. No tzaddik is looking for leadership. Moshe Rabbeinu took David just 7 days to fight with him to do his job. No tzaddik is looking for why? Because a tzaddik wants to serve God. You get involved with people. So by Moshe, let's give an answer to Moshe Rabbeinu. They come to him and they ask for meat. So Moshe Rabbeinu turns to God and says, I never signed up for the butcher job. I never signed up. What am I, a butcher? I didn't sign up for that part of the job. I signed up to spiritual Yidden. The Rebbe would always say, I'm a Rebbe, and people are writing me questions about, bother me with all crazy kind of questions. It's taking my time. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort. Dealing with people is not an easy thing for a tzaddik who wants to serve God 24/7, right? Suddenly now we have to deal with every person. That's Mesiras Nefesh for a righteous person to do, because he's not looking for the glory. He's not looking for the honor. He's not looking for the money. He's not looking for anything. He's looking to serve the Eibishter. He's looking to serve the Eibishter. He's looking to be a shepherd. Leave me alone. Let me be in my holy abode. Let me serve God. I can accomplish more. And then the Eibishter says, no, you got to worry about their meat. You got to worry about the chicken and where they're going to have their food, where they're going to have the water. You got to do that. That's your job. That's your job. Right. Correct. And they were right. And they were right. In a way, they were right. The Rebbe doesn't condemn the Meraglim. And the Rebbe looks to positive in everything. And it says, in essence, they wanted a spiritual life. And it makes a lot of sense. They were brought up in a spiritual way. They were brought up that way 40 years. Who wants to suddenly give up that kind of a situation of a spiritual lifestyle to now go and get involved in mundane things? Which tzaddik who's lived in a spiritual existence suddenly now needs to deal with day-to-day life of people and the tzaddis and the headaches and the suffering and the etc. What tzaddik wants to do that? No tzaddik wants to do that. Every tzaddik wants to live in a spiritual world. And the Eibush says, no, that's not the job. You gotta go out there, you gotta deal with these things, you gotta deal with people. We need to learn from that. We gotta deal with people. Whether we're tzaddik or not tzaddik. We got to deal with people. We can't live a world in a cocoon, our little own spiritual world. We need to feel the pain of others. We need to get into the nitty gritty of other people's tzaddas, like a tzaddik, and lower ourselves. That's what I always say. That you learn from an adult. Adult lowers himself to pick up a child. A person needs to sometimes lower himself to pick up the child, to pick up the person that needs to pick up. You don't talk to a third person in front of your level and talk to him down. You have to lower yourself to the person. You have to feel his pain. You have to feel his sad. And when you can lower yourself to that person, then maybe you can pick him up. Then maybe you're gonna. You imagine that tzaddik lowering yourself to the level of a person that is a sinner, and to be able to do that. So for a tzaddik, that's the Mesiras Nefesh of a tzaddik. That was Mesiras Nefesh of these tzaddikim throughout history. The Pashut gave up their life, their spiritual life, which that was life to them, for the sake of every Jew, whether he was a tzaddik, whether he was a sinner. That completes. Now the next we will go into why the wicked prosper. Okay, that's but now we figured out why the righteous suffer, so we can all be happy. Nobody should suffer. Everybody should have prosperity, and it should be. Everybody should give everybody menucha and health and happiness and wealth and all good things in life. God bless you, everybody.